Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is YAHMAD. Today we're looking at paper 3 from the Information and Communication Technology ICT IGCSE course code 04117. So paper 3 is a practical paper which is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. So I've already completed the spreadsheet part of this paper, so we're going to be looking at the website part instead. Instead of using Adobe Dreamweaver, I'm going to be using Microsoft Web Expression since I've changed jobs and my new school does not have Adobe Dreamweaver. And from now on, I will be making these videos now using Microsoft Web Expression. So I've already opened up the evidence document. So let me find it. So so I've already started the evidence document. Actually, got my name in the header, so I can highlight all of these things off. So obviously we will be using the evidence documents to place screenshots at certain points in the exam. Right, so for task 2, you work for Hothouse Design and will develop web pages for the Colorado Cabin Company. Many of the people who will view the web page have a very slow internet connection, so efficient markup must be used. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new folder. So create a new folder called ccc_html. So let me go to my source folder. Okay, and let's make a new folder with the name given. Okay, so here's my folder. In this folder, we need to locate the following files and store them into your folder. So the cabin JPEG and the logo PNG file. So that's the cabin picture and the logo PNG picture. So let's just drag them both into that folder. And then the CSS file and the text file. So we have a CSS and a text file, so we can highlight and move them both. So pressing Ctrl on the keyboard to move these files. Make sure you not open them up before you move the files. So you should have 4 files in total. If the files are open, then they obviously won't be able to be moved into your new folder. So I've done the first part now. Okay, so let's go down to the first question. So we're going to create a web page called ccc.htm. So I've opened up my Microsoft Expression. Okay, so to create a new page, you need to go to File, New, and then click on HTML. And before we do anything, we need to save this page. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Documents, 2018 Paper 3. We're doing a June Paper 3 32 version. So let's go to your folder. And what do we need to call our website? We're going to call it 3Cs, so ccc.htm. Okay, so you can save it as web pages, or you can be more specific. Doesn't really make a difference. I'll just save it as web pages. Save. If you go to your folder, here you can see the new file that we just created. Right, what do we have to do first? What we need to do now is create the table structure shown below. So before we can create this table, we need to identify how many columns and rows we have. So first of all, how many columns do we have? We have 1 column and we have 2 columns. And how many rows do we have? We have 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 2 columns and 4 rows. So to create the table, you need to click on Table, Insert Table. We've got 4 rows, 2 columns. Okay, do we have the size of the table going across? Yep, so it's going to be 900 pixels wide. So we can include that size now. So 900 in pixels wide. So if we click on OK, and let me double check. Table borders must not appear on the final web page. So I'm not going to include any borders at this point here. Each table cell is identified with a letter and all dimensions are in pixels. The letters and dimensions shown in the table must not appear in your final web page. So after we've created the table to include 2 columns and 4 rows, then we can put these sizes in for individual cells. So we may have to first of all merge cells and then put the sizes in after. So before I create the table, let's double check. We should have 4 rows and 2 columns. The table is 900 pixels wide. Yep, so 4 rows, 2 columns, 900 pixels wide. So make sure you've selected in pixels. We don't need to show the border, so we can keep that as 0, and then we can press OK. I'm just going to get rid of this for now, this manage styles. Just put it there for now. So we've got the 4 rows. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What we need to do now is start merging the cells together. So you can see cell A will be these 2 cells merged together. So let's do that first of all. Yeah. So let's merge. Right click, modify, merge cells, and then the second and third row obviously have been merged. Actually, not the second, it's the third and fourth row have been merged. So this is obviously the first row, second row. The third and fourth row need to be merged into one single cell. So this is the third row. So let's highlight, modify, merge the cells. That now becomes one cell, and then modify and merge the cells. Okay, so if you go to the code, let's just have a look at the code for a second. So just to remind you, TR stands for table row. Okay, so TR is the table row, and TD is the cells within the table row. Okay, so for example, if I click on this one here, you can see we have one table row and then one cell, so we only have one TD. Where we have, if we click on the first table row, you can see in this table row we've got multiple cells inside. So we've got TD, which refers to cells inside. Right, so I've merged all the cells now. Now it's time to put in the dimensions of each cell. So if you click on cell A, then click on cell properties. So you need to right click, cell properties, double tick these boxes here. So the dimensions should be 580 by 577. So 580 by 577. Make sure it's in pixels, then we can click on apply. Okay, it doesn't really matter at this point if the table does not look, it looks maybe too big. It doesn't really matter at this point, okay? As long as the information has gone into the code. So here we go. So we've got 580 by 577. That's the main point, and that's what's going to be marked at the end of the exam. So cell B is 320 by 445. So if you click in this cell, modify, cell properties, tick the 2 boxes again, and it's going to be 320 by, I've got a short memory today, let me double check, by 445. 445. Okay, so that's again in pixels. So that's that one done. Let's go to this cell here. So cell C will be 320 by 132. So again, right click, cell properties, double click these 2 boxes here, 320 by 132. In pixels again has been selected. And then finally, for cell D, we don't need to concern ourselves with 900. The cell will already be 900 pixels wide. Same for cell E. We don't need to concern ourselves. We've already set that setting at the start. We just need to look at the height. So D will be 200 and E will be 80 pixels high. So let's go into this cell here. Cell properties, the height, I'm going to check again, 200 by 80, isn't it? So 200 for this one. Okay, so for the last row, the size was, height was 80. So again, right click, cell properties, specify height, and it's going to be 80. Okay, so that's that job done. So I've highlighted this now, so we've completed this section. Okay, so there's 10 marks available. Basically, all of the marks will come from making sure you set the right table size and then the right sizes for each of the cells, and the right cells have been merged together. So eventually you will be sharing the HTML code, and all of the information you need for the marks are in your code. So it doesn't really matter at this point if a table is not looking 100% right. It's just as long as the information's in the code, that's the main thing. Right, so let's move forward. Okay, so we're now going to start placing some content into the cells. So place in cell A the image J1832 cabin.jpg. So cell A is this one here in the corner. So to place an image, there's two things we can do. Let's first of all click the first cell. So make sure you're inside. You can either click on this icon here, or you can go to insert, picture from file, and this time I want to go back to the right folder. So let's go to 32. So, and we want to select this cabin picture. Okay, so I always include alternative text. So this is basically when a picture does not load up, this text will be displayed instead. Sometimes the question paper will ask you later on to include alternative text, so it makes sense at this point to include the alternative text. Let's press OK. So there's our picture. It looks a little bit on the big side, so let's see the question paper now. Okay, so resize the image in the markup so it's 570 pixels wide, maintaining the aspect ratio. To maintain the aspect ratio, we have to right click on the picture, go to picture properties, go to appearance. If you haven't included the alternative text, you can always include it here. So what we want to do is to make the picture 570 pixels wide, maintaining the aspect ratio. So make sure this is ticked here, and let's change that size from 3260 to 570. When you maintain the aspect ratio, the height changes accordingly, so we're not squashing the proportions of the picture. So 570 pixels wide. Okay, and the picture has now been resized, as you can see, and fits within that cell. Okay, so in cell B, which one is B again? So B is the one in the top right corner. The image of the logo .png. Again, we have to resize this image in a markup. So let me first of all insert a picture. I'm going to click here this time to insert a picture. The alternative text, we can call it logo. So if the picture doesn't load up, text logo will be shown instead. This time, because we don't want to maintain the aspect ratio, we don't need to right click and go to picture properties. What we can do is we can split the code, click on the picture, so make sure it's highlighted. Okay, so because we're not maintaining the aspect ratio, we're going to simply type in the values. So it's going to be 316 pixels wide. Okay, that's fine. And then the height will be 440. So if you do it like this, then it's just going to basically change just the height. Okay, and that stays the same. Let's get it off the code. You could have also gone to picture properties and deselected this and done this same thing as well. Okay, so that's question 3 done. We highlight this part as well. So make sure appropriate text is displayed if the image is not available. We've already done that. So place in cell C the text Colorado Cabin Company. So I'm going to copy. You would obviously have to type it in the exam. So C is below B. So it's going to be the cell here. And we want to set it to heading 1, so H1. So let me highlight this. Come to the bottom. Highlight, whoops, let's try that again. Highlight the text. And we can come up to the top style menu and we can select heading 1. So later on, if you do apply a style sheet, that might change according to the H1 settings. Right, so in cell D, the text from the text document, okay, will be placed into cell D. Where is cell D again? D is this row here, so it's the third row. First row, second, and then would be the third row of the original table. So let's first of all find the file that we need to open up. So J1832 text. So we basically have to copy and paste this, and if you go down, we're going to place it into this table, the cell here. So let's paste, or you can go to edit and paste. Okay, and then what do we need to set this to? We need to set this to H2, so heading 2. So we can highlight and then click on the style menu and change this to heading 2. Okay, like I said, later on this may change when you include or when you attach the CSS style sheet. Okay, place in cell E. So cell E should be the last row. Let me double check to confirm. Yes. Website prepared for hothouse design, followed by your name, center number, and candidate number. And this will be style, or the text will be a style H3. So H3 needs to be applied to this text. So let me just paste it in. I'll use some shortcut keys on my keyboard. So first of all, my name, and then the center number 5678. Obviously in the exam you'll be given this information, and then 1 2 3 4. And what we need to do is highlight this text and apply heading 3. Okay, that's nice and easy. Right, so question 8, center line the table. I'm going to show you two methods, or one method that they ask for in a mark scheme to center line the table. So one thing you could do is you can just simply right click on the table, select table properties, and select center line here. Okay, and that will center line your table. As you can see, it's been center aligned. Let me just turn that off, back to default. In the mark schemes, especially in the previous exams, if I go to my code and go to the top of the table, because we're in the style, what we can also do is insert some code. Okay, so basically we are embedding the CSS style within this table. So this is the first part, so I'm going to put in a semicolon. The second part is the margin. We're going to set it to automatic, so margin on the left will be automatic, semicolon. We want to also add another tag, so margin on the right will be automatic as well. So then if I type in a semicolon, so make sure you're within the style and speech marks. So this is basically some embedded CSS into our HTML. So if we go to design, you can see the tables center aligned. If we go to preview in the browser, hopefully the table should also be center aligned. So the reason I've showed you this method of typing in the code is because in previous mark schemes, that's what they requested for. So there's, as requested, there's no border settings for this table. The table has been center aligned, and if we go back to the code, in previous mark schemes, they have asked for this piece of code to get that particular mark. So we made the left and right margins of the table automatic, which center lines the table. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So let me just highlight that. Set a default target window so that new page opens in the current window. Okay, so basically what this means is any new page that opens will open a new window, and we have to do this by going to the code. So if we go to the code, and you need to go to the top, and underneath the title you need to write you first of all need to open up bracket. Okay, select base space target. So let's select target, and what the question was saying basically is set a default target window so that a new page opens in the current window. So we need to select in between these speech marks. Let's do that again. So we get the options, so base, target, and the option we want is self. Okay, so any window will open up on itself rather than on a new tab. So the piece of code you need to write is base and then space, select right target, or select it from the options, and then select the option self. So this will make sure every page opens up on itself. Okay, so that's that part done. There's 2 marks available for that question. So question 10, let me go back to the full view. So make only the text hothouse design. So let's first of all find hothouse design. So it must be this text here. Let's highlight it. A hyperlink to the web page. So let me copy this address. So to hyperlink this text, we just highlight it, right click, select hyperlink, and if you want to type in the address or copy and paste it here into this option window here, and the page will open in a new window called _new. So we've been specific now. We're specifying for this to open a new window. So if you go to target frame, new window, and it's going to be called new, so _new. So we can change the name here. Let's just keep it the same, new. Press OK. I'll press OK. So if we go into the code, you'll see this is the website, and the target will open up in a new window. Okay. Right. So let's go back. Let's have a look at question 11. So make the image of the cabin a hyperlink to send an email message to. So let's go to the picture first of a cabin. So if I right click and let's go down to the options, so hyperlink, and if I click on email address, so it's going to send an email message to this address. So let's type in the email address. Okay, so make sure you include hang on one second. What did I copy and paste? So send an email message to, let me copy that again. So as you can see, mail to has been copied in or inserted by itself. That's fine. And the subject line will be information request. So if I type this in here, and the subject line has appeared here as well. So if I press OK, and then if I go to the code again, so remember that's what's going to be marked. So we can see the image has been linked. So mail to, then we've got the email address, and then question mark subject equal, the subject line, or yeah, subject line is going to be information requests. So that's that part done. It's actually much easier doing it in Web Expression compared to doing it in Dreamweaver, so you don't really need to remember anything. If you were doing it in Dreamweaver, you'd have to remember question mark subject equal for the subject line. Okay, so question 12, attach the style sheet J1832ss.css to the web page. So to attach the style sheet, let's go back to design. We go to format, CSS styles, attach style sheet, browse. Okay, so make sure we're in that folder, ccc_html, J1832, is that the one? Yep, that's the one I need. So let's double click, make sure link has been selected, and then OK. And the background has changed, as you can see. Okay, so we've done that. Let's save the web page. So file, save all. Okay, so now we come to the evidence. So display the web page in your browser. If necessary, resize it so that all the page can be seen, all the text can be easily read, or the address bar is visible. So we take a single screenshot of the browser window and place this into your evidence document. So let's go to File, Preview in Browser, Chrome. Let's zoom out so we can see all of the information. Okay, I'm happy with that. Print screen. If you want to use snipping tool, it's up to you, whatever you feel most comfortable using. So let me just crop off the part which I don't need. I want to include the address bar. Okay, so That's that part done. Okay, so that's the first evidence. The second evidence is the most important, is the HTML. So that's basically where all of your marks will come from. So let's go to the HTML source code and let's basically copy and paste the whole HTML document. So copy. Okay, it doesn't matter about the spacing, how many pages it takes. It's really important. We can see all of the information from the HTML. The mistake some people will do is they copy this thinking that's the HTML, but that's not the HTML code. The HTML code is when you go to the code view and you copy and paste all of this. So what the examiner will be looking to mark will be the external or hyperlinks, see if it opens some new windows, email links, table sizes, and basically any table dimensions. Anything you've done appears in that HTML. Okay, so that's that part done. Okay, question 13. Open a style sheet J1832 in a suitable package. So let me open it. We're going to use the same package. So file, open. That's the style sheet which we want to open. So let's have a look at it. Okay, and examine its contents. Okay, so what we have is the background color. So the background color is a specific color. H3 text will be left aligned. H2 text will be justified. That means it's straight on both sides. H1 text will be center aligned. We'll have a specific color, and then the font family is Times. If that's not available, Times New Roman. If that's not available, then any serif font. Okay, so using this example, explain in your own words how the browser interprets these fonts and why one value in the font family definition of speech marks around it. Okay, so what you need to do is type your answer in your own words into the evidence document using no more than 100 words. Okay, so to save me a little bit of time, I've actually copied and pasted the answers in from the mark scheme. So let's go through the answers. Or let's go to the evidence document first of all. So evidence 3. Okay. So the browser, what will happen is it searches through the available fonts for the font's times, and if it's not displayed, then the font. So if the font times is not available, then the browser will search for the next font, Times New Roman. If neither of these are available, then the browser will use the predefined default generic serif font. So if we go back to here, so the browser will look for Times. Okay, if that's available, then the text will be shown in that particular font. If that's not available, then the browser will search for this font style, Times New Roman. If it's available, then it will show the text in that font for H1. If not, then any default serif font. The last point was why is Times New Roman in speech marks and not the others? So if I go back to the evidence document, speech marks are around Times New Roman to define it as a single string, so it does not search for times. So because this font has multiple words, therefore we have to put it into speech marks. We don't want to think times. If it's not in speech marks, it's just basically going to look at the first word. But Times New Roman is the name for one font style. So for that reason, it's been put into speech mark. Okay, so we've come to the end of this paper 3 website section. So we're using Microsoft Web Expression for this example. I think it's definitely easier using Microsoft Web Expression. So this particular exam was very straightforward. We just simply had to create a table, insert some content, resize some pictures, insert some email links as well. So email link was included on the picture, okay, and the hyperlink was included on this one here. So if I click on this, let's see if it opens up. Yep, it's going to the external page. Here we go, it's loaded up. Okay, thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share and like this video. Thanks again for your time.